Missing Link is the latest from Laika Animation, and it follows the story of Sir Lionel Frost, an explorer who's looking for the Sasquatch, the missing link between man and ape. And when he finds it, the Sasquatch, who he names Mr. Link, wants Lionel to help him find his own kind, so he set off on a globe-trotting adventure to reunite Mr. Link with his own species. This is the first Laika Animation film that I've ever seen. I've not seen any of the other films, even Kubo and the Two Strings. People praise that film, never seen it. So this is my very first experience with a Laika animated film, and how was it for a first experience? It was alright. I do know that Laika makes stop motion animated films. I've seen the trailers for their previous films like Kubo and the Two Strings, and it's the same style of stop motion that they do in Missing Link, and I was really surprised at how smooth the animation is for it being stop motion. Everything from the character movements, character expressions, and even just things in the world like running water. There's a shot early on in the film where a character goes through a river on a horse, and I was like, that is real water. I mean, that's just how impressive animation has got to this point, where it just looks almost photorealistic. But like I always say, good animation is kind of par for the course for most animated films nowadays, so it's kind of like a cliche to say the animation was great. So let's talk about the story and the characters of Missing Link. It's a relatively simple story. It's basically exactly how I described it. Mr. Link and Lionel are trying to find Mr. Link's other species who he considers his cousins, because Mr. Link is lonely. He's living in the woods by himself, and he just wants to be reunited with his own kind, so he has some people to hang out with and live a good life with. So Mr. Link and Lionel are jumping from country to country, and they're avoiding things along the way because there are bad people trying to stop them, and it's an enjoyable enough film to watch. I like the adventure aspect to it, where they're going from country to country, and the transition between some scenes where it shows the map and the different routes they're taking, kind of like an Indiana Jones Uncharted kind of feel to it. I like some of the humour with Mr. Link himself, because it's kind of the fish out of water scenario, because he's been living in the woods all of his life, so now he's coming into the world and he's interacting with everything in a kind of an embarrassing way, and some of his dialogue's really good because he's extremely literal and doesn't understand the English language all that well. So there's parts in the film where he and Lionel are doing something and he takes things extremely literally and he does the exact opposite of what Lionel tells him to do. Those parts are quite funny. I chuckled quite a few times throughout the film actually. There's nothing about this film that's really special. Again, it's quite a simple story of characters going from place to place to place, trying to get to the ultimate destination, trying to avoid bad guys along the way, some good bits of humour, some fish out of water scenarios and Mr. Link. But there's just not really a whole bunch of depth to whatever's going on. There were a couple of touching moments, with Mr. Link especially, because again, he's really lonely and he's expressing his loneliness. A couple of moments like that did give me the feels a little bit, but there just wasn't really a whole lot of resonance to it, and nothing about the film really stands out that much. I will say though, I wasn't really a fan of the villainous element of this film. Lionel Frost is trying to find the missing link so he can get into this prestigious club in London, and these really posh guys are like, no, you cannot be in our club, you're not worthy to be in here, we're properly explorer type, yes. And the head of this club is this really posh, really pretentious guy, so you can't be an explorer here, it's an abomination, you cannot find this creature, it's an abomination against man. And he's sending hitman after Lionel Frost to stop him from finding the Sasquatch, and I just didn't really find it to be all that interesting of a villainous element. Now, had it been like a rival explorer who's also trying to find the Sasquatch, that could have been more interesting and more entertaining. Yes, it would have been safer for a film like this, but I just think it would have worked better than just the old guys like, no, you can't do that, no. But I still had an overall good time with Missing Link. If you take your family to see it, you're all going to have a good time with it. Just again, don't expect the next great animation that's going to resonate with you forever. It's a decent adventure, some good humour, a good main character with Mr. Link. I'm going to give Missing Link a 3 out of 5. So have you guys seen Missing Link, and what did you think about it? And what's your favourite stop motion animated film of all time? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know down there. And if you want to see more of my stuff, click on one of these in a second, and I'll see you all next time.